So continue on the theme of prepositions. Very, very useful little tiny words. They don't line up really between English and French. So it's worth noticing these examples about when to use what preposition, really. So this time we're looking at quelques expressions de lieu, some expressions regarding place, how to position things. So let's have a look. So example, dans le bus, il y a des enfants. Sur le bus, il y a des affiches. Now, in English, we would say we're getting on the bus. But if you say on the bus, you're either talking about stuck to the side of the bus in French, or you're on top of the bus. So if you want to be in the bus, you have to be in. So I'm getting in the bus would be how you would say it in French if we were to translate it into English. But if we can see at this example, dans le bus, il y a des enfants. Children are in the bus. On the bus, there are posters. Okay, so you can see one is outside and one is in. Très bien. Un avion passe au-dessus de la ville. Sur le pont coule la Seine. So a plane passes over the town, au-dessus, au-dessus. It's kind of said quite quickly there. It's not au-dessus, it's not separated, au-dessus, au-dessus. And remember that it's a US sound, which tells us that it's above or over. And then the OU sound, which you could kind of imagine is heavier, really, is sous, 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 and that's under. So under the bridge flows the Seine. Okay, let's have a look again at some more examples. So, dans, now we use dans when we're talking about un espace fermé, an enclosed space, un espace fermé, enclosed space. That's good to know, because that's a good way to sort of like actually limit, to put some limits around when do I use dans. So, dans la maison, inside, closed space. Dans le tiroir, in the drawer, again, a closed space. If we're talking about on, it's usually on a surface, which is why, you know, if you're on the bus, you're not on a surface, are you? You're in the bus, which is an enclosed space. Good logic, really, I suppose. So, sur is on a surface. So, sur le toit is on the roof. Sur la photo is on a photo, obviously. À l'extérieur de is the opposite of dans. So, à l'extérieur de la maison is outside the house. Sous or sur. So, sous is under, sur is on. Sous le parapluie is under the umbrella. By the way, that's a good way to remember the fact that when you're in weather, so we would say in the sun, in the rain, in the snow, obviously in English, excuse me, in French, all of those things, you're under that weather. So, sous la neige, sous le soleil, sous la pluie. So you could remember it by noticing that you're under an umbrella and just think of maybe make that connection. Now, lovely little title here, little subheading here that kind of puts a spanner in the works for everything. As they say in French, un bâton dans les rues, which is the spanner in the works, un bâton dans les rues. Cas particulier, so special cases. This is when it all goes out the window, isn't it? So, dans la rue, in the street. Make that confined space if you like. I don't know how you would, but I'm sure you can stretch it if you like. Sur la place is on the square. You know, like where you might see all the restaurants with their terrasse. Sur la place. So on the square. Sur le boulevard, on the avenue. Dans un fauteuil, in an armchair. Sur une chaise, on a chair. So you're in an armchair, but you're on a chair. Dans le journal, in the newspaper. But, here we go. À la radio, à la télévision. So on the radio, on the television. And then sur Internet. Now, because this is an English word, we will pronounce the T, Internet. And notice there's no le, la, les, un, une. It's just directly sur Internet. That's how you say that. So then they're telling us what we were talking about before. So, je suis dans le train, not je suis sur le train. So it's such a common error to make that it's been picked out here. À la télévision, il y a Lady Gaga, which is such a common error. We would say sur la télévision, il y a Lady Gaga. So it's à la télévision et dans un train. Now these words quite often get mixed up. Now I have a little hack to get around this. So they've used au and o for, so this is un niveau plus haut, so above, and this is un niveau plus bas, which is below. And then you've got a little de, by the way. It's quite important, that de. But the way I remember this, and always have done, and also which helps with the pronunciation, I think, is that the above one, let's make it lighter and more airy, so it's going up. So that's oh, because I think oh is a word you could imagine sort of like going up by the way that you pronounce it. Au-dessus, 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 okay, going up. Now you don't have to use o for the below. You can use en, and I think that's better because en is a heavier word, isn't it? On. It's a heavier word in my mind. So en dessous, and then that drags down the ou sound, and then you know you're below. So au-dessus, en dessous. Okay, so that's one way you can remember the differences between the two. So au-dessus du 5e étage, look, there's the de. Étage is masculine, so it's du. Au-dessus du 5e étage au 6e. So above the 5th floor, on the 6th. Nous volons au-dessus de l'Atlantique. We're flying over the Atlantic. I'm going to use en here. En dessous du 5e étage au 4e. So below the 5th floor on the 4th. En dessous de nos pieds coule la Seine. Below our feet flows the Seine, as in the main river that runs through Paris. Sous, so that notice that we know that this is below because of the OU there. Above is a U difference. Sous peut signifier aussi au-dessus, en dessous de. So you can also use sous instead of en dessous. So le chat est sous la table, the cat is under the table. People don't like this very much, do they? But you should practice using it because then you'll start liking it. You know, it's just about making it familiar, really. And there we are again. Dessous, dessous. Le chat est sous le lit. Is the cat on the bed? Oui, il est dessous. Yes, he's on it. Non, il est dessous. He's under it. Now, these are great little words, nice and simple. They mean inside and outside. So, le chat est dans la maison. Oui, il est dedans. And I'm just going to draw your attention to how we pronounce that. We're cutting that word here on the de, and it's a de, like a je, a ne, a me. That's how it's pronounced. So, oui, il est dedans. Yes, he's indoors. Non, il est dehors. Yeah, no, he's outside. And hors, that word hors means outside or out, actually. It means out. So if you see hors service, for example, that's out of order. Couple more. À côté de. Now, the error that I hear people make the most often with this one is sometimes they forget the de, but the biggest error is not remembering that accent there. So it's got a café. Côte is coast, or it's you know, like ribs of cutlet, you know, type thing. So you want it to be à côté, à côté. We need the accent to make it next to. So the same proximité, so these are near. So à côté would be next to, and près de is near to, pretty much. So Versailles est près de Paris, they're saying 10 kilomètres is near to Paris, okay? It's your own judgment, isn't it? And then the opposite of that is loin, loin de is far from. And look at this lovely, so proximité isn't really a word that connects with those, but this one does. Éloignement is distance. And you can see the loin is hidden inside that word, isn't it? So éloignement, so it's éloignement, distant. So Moscou est loin de Paris. So Moscow is far from Paris. And in this case then, 2500 kilomètres. Right, we've got a couple more minutes, so let's have a look at some of these examples and see if we can work out which one we would use. So we've got dans, sur ou sous. So les assiettes sont dans le sorry, it's a question. Les assiettes sont dans le placard. So are the plates in the cupboard? So what would you say? Non, elles sont what? Le lave-vaisselle. No, they are in the dishwasher. So are they in the cupboard? No, they are. Well, you could say dong if they're in the dishwasher, and if somebody piled them on the dishwasher, which wouldn't be very sensible, would it? But they could do, has been known, then it would be sur, on the dishwasher. Unlikely to be under, so it wouldn't be sous. So the question, how would you make this question? Les verres, get the rising intonation if you're going to say it out loud to yourself. Les verres. Yeah, so there's only one answer, isn't there? Les verres sont sur la table. So are the glasses on the table? And then the answer is non, ils sont. So this is a shelf. So that's a surface. So the answer would be non, ils sont sur l'étagère. They're on the shelf. They're not in it, they're on it. All right, a couple more. On mange something la cuisine, enclosed space. So there's only one answer. On mange dans, oh, that's a question again. On mange dans la cuisine. On mange dans la cuisine. And they're going to say, no, we're going to eat on the patio because it's nice weather. And that one will be like sur place, sur une place, like outside. On the, so, non, sur la terrasse, il fait beau. Sur la terrasse. Il y a des tas de journaux, a pile that is, a pile of newspapers. Where? Sur la table. There's a pile of newspapers on the table. Throw them in the bin. Jette-les dans la poubelle. So throw them in the bin. And then this is the sink. So I guess the bin's under the sink. I was just trying to work that out actually. The bin is going to be in that cupboard, isn't it? That's under the sink. So then we're going to say under, which we're going to use this one with the OU in it. Sous l'évier. Sous l'évier. So a good little reminder, nice and precise if you can use them in those ways. So I think the enclosed space one's a good way to remember the dans, and the sous is good to remember the umbrella. And sur is a surface. So we're not on the surface of a bus or a train, we have to be in it. Bon, ben, merci beaucoup. C'était un plaisir. Et puis, à la prochaine alors. Au revoir. Merci. Au revoir.